Child rapist given a suspended sentence because of the overcrowding in the UK prisons. Now this popped up in my news feed today. If you take a have a look just there, as you can see what that says. And it's saying child, you can see the word what I'm trying to say, I'll not say it too much on here, rapist has been given a suspended sentence. Now, there's a lot of these been popping up about offenders getting suspended sentences, and they're saying it's down to the overcrowding in the prisons. But a lot of the crimes that these offenders are being getting suspended sentences for have either been where it's been like on laptops, what you would call as cyber, if you get what I'm trying to say, without going into the details of it, because YouTube will flag it up and the video will not be monetized and it will be took down if you say certain words on here. So you've got to be careful how you word it. But a lot of these offenders are ones that have been doing it online, so to speak, where there has been no contact with the victim. It's just been online. And these are the ones that have normally been coming up and getting suspended sentences. And then this is the first time I've seen this one where an offender has actually went, like I say, I'm trying to word it correctly because you've got to be careful on here. I can't just blatantly come out and say it because of the sensitive around the case as well. So this I'll say rapist because that won't flag up. The rapist he's been given a suspended sentence when he was up in court, and the judge is saying without a doubt he would have went to prison if it wasn't for the prisons being overcrowded. But when I read into the article further down, as you can see a little bit on the page here, that this was actually in December when he got sentenced. And back in December, because I've been doing updates on the prisons about the overcrowding situation over the last couple of months, and this wasn't so much a crisis back in December. It wasn't headline news about the overcrowdedness in the prisons. Obviously, it was saying about the state of the prisons, and it was coming to the point where it was going to be at maximum capacity if they weren't careful. But it wasn't at maximum capacity, which it is at now. So this offender was given a suspended sentence back then for doing that to a young kid under the age of 14. But when I looked further into the case, when I read down when I read down the article rather, and it is saying it was a historic case, which was in 2005, and the defendant is 33-year-old now, which would have put him at 14-year-old when the crime was committed. But to me, he would have been 14-year-old, and that other child would have, it says, under the age of 14. So they never give the age when they say under the age of 14. Could have been 10, 11-year-old. But this victim has obviously come forward when it's a historic crime. The victim has obviously come forward in her later life to speak about what happened, hoping to get justice. But imagine suffering for all those years. Then eventually, it obviously would have went to trial, and then he was convicted. For him then to get a suspended sentence. Now, what does that actually say about the justice system, and what does that actually say for the justice for the victims? About other people that might think about coming forward and speaking up about these historic crimes. But again, he's been given a suspended sentence, and part of his, listen to this bit as well though, part of his conditions of serving this suspended sentence was that he's not allowed to leave the country, which is the same for most people that have been to prison. When you're released, you can't leave the country unless you get prior permission from your probation. But this one, it says in the article that he has to get permission from the police, but I think what they're referring to is he needs to get permission from his probation if he's to leave the country. So only a couple of months after he's handed the suspended sentence, he's actually left the country, and it says he went to Egypt. And on his return, he was caught hailed back in front of the courts again. I mean, anybody that does this whilst they're on licence, it's just normally immediate recall back to prison. But he hasn't even been to prison. He's on a suspended sentence. So for that suspended sentence should have been automatically, to where I'm looking for, that sentence should have been automatically brought forward and brought into action. Can't think of the exact word I'm looking for that name, but it doesn't matter. But that it should have been brought into force, and he should have been serving that sentence. But when he went up in front of the courts, guess what? He was given another suspended sentence. It was 2 months prison added on to the suspended sentence to serve out in the community for leaving the country without prior knowledge or prior permission, sorry. But again, I'm just highlighting what's going on because at the minute it seems like certain offenders are getting released early, certain offenders aren't going to prison, certain offenders are getting slammed. I mean, a lot of these rioters, the headline news at the minute, they're getting slammed for, some of them are protesting, some of them were rioting. Don't get us wrong, I'm not saying they were right or wrong. I'm not saying they were in the wrong for what they'd done, because some of these rioters were out of control, obviously some of the things that they were doing, and they could not avoid a prison sentence. But how come these rioters are all getting fast-tracked through the system when it's taken months, nearly years, to get other offenders up in front of the courts, to get them sentenced or get them on trial, to get the cases sorted out? Then you've got other offenders like that are just getting suspended sentences. But again, it's just from my own personal opinion, the whole system is fucked at the minute. It's overcrowded, obviously, the way the crisis is going on. And they're dealing with things, again, this is all my own opinion, but they're dealing with things the wrong way. They're sending the wrong people into prison. They're not giving the ones that deserve prison the prison that they deserve. And then they're not releasing the ones that should be released, and they're releasing the ones that are just going to be in and out constantly. Low-level offenders, but it's the low-level offenders that are in and out constantly. They're back within weeks. But again, I just thought I would bring this to your attention because you lot back at home watching these videos, by all the comments that you keep putting on the videos, you love watching these updates. But again, like I said, this news app that I've got on, as you can see by that headline that popped up, these are popping up every day. There's hundreds of stories coming out of the prison, so there'll be never-ending stories about the prison system all the time, and I'll be bringing you the best of the headlines just to keep you all updated, because that's what the channel is all about. It's about educating you all back home about prison, what's going on in the prisons, and what a lot of you back home who haven't been to prison before don't really know about. So it's bringing you the facts from inside the prison, bringing you journalism about prison stories and about people that are going to prison or have been in prison, and keeping you all updated. But again, thank you all for watching, for your continued support. And as usual, if you haven't already, go down, check that subscribe button, because a staggering 80% of my viewers are still not subscribed to my channel. And I think a lot of you probably already think that you are, but if you go down, double check, and if you're not subscribed, hit the button. It's free, doesn't cost a penny, it just helps the channel grow, because the next milestone is 100,000 subscribers. And then from there, I'm going to start doing the interviews again with ex-prisoners and people who's been through adversity. So hit that button, people, help the channel grow, and you will see loads of more content coming. Take care, everyone, and enjoy your weekend. Stay safe.